Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a eyeshadow palette declutter. Now, this is obviously a craft cart, but this whole side right here is all eyeshadow palettes. So we're going to go through this. Got my little container here. We're going to see if I can declutter some stuff. The last count I had 85, and I have gotten some more palettes since then, so it's probably pushing 90. And yeah, I just don't need that many. So let's go through this, and yeah, let's declutter. First off, if you are not subscribed already, please take a moment and hit that subscribe button down below. That would mean a lot to me. So yeah, let's get into this. This first little thing was sitting on my desk. These are all either new palettes or palettes that I've had that I haven't really used. So these ones I'm gonna keep. I can kind of quickly show you what I've gotten here. This is the Tarte Sizzle palette. That is what that looks like. I bought it, I swatched it, I haven't used it. The Norvina palette, I got a gift card for my graduation from beauty school. So I bought this for myself. I have not even touched it. There's a ColourPop All I See Is Magic palette. I got this, there we go, as like an add-on for the Ipsy Glam Bag or Glam Bag Plus. I haven't tried it, haven't touched it. I don't know why I keep buying those cardboard ColourPop palettes, because I can't, I just end up not liking them. And then there's the Ipsy and Tetris. This was also like an add-on palette. I haven't tried it. My dog's going to be crying in the background again, so I'm sorry. This is one that I just got in from Poshmark. It's the Dose of Colors Snow Angel palette. One of the shades was actually broken down in here. I repressed it. The rest of them are fine, but I'm gonna try that. There's a Morphe palette that I got from BoxyCharm. Never used it. This was a recent Poshmark purchase. This is the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. It's used, obviously, but I haven't touched it yet. And then I did get the new Jeffree Star Jawbreaker palette. So these are ones that I'm keeping that I need to, like this Morphe one, I need to just try it so I can, you know, declutter it or decide, yes, I'm going to keep it, kind of a situation. So this is stuff that's sitting on my desk that I'm going to try. So let's get into the first drawer. Now this first drawer has a lot of my smaller palettes. The first one is the Ace Beauté. This is the Grandiose palette. We got it in a BoxyCharm. I think I used it once. It's not a bad palette. I like the colors, so I think I'm going to keep that. This is the only full-size palette I own, like eyeshadow palette from the Balm. This is the Meet Matte Schmaker. I can't ever say it correctly, but there's the palette. I've used it a few times. I like it, so I think I'm going to hold on to this. I'm a little bit of a collector, so I like having, you know, one or two palettes from brands if I don't have any. And then I have this little like Smoke Bomb palette, and I do use like this shade all the time. If I have a palette that doesn't have a transition, it's kind of washing out, I will pull this. This is a good like transition shade, a deep shade. Like this is just a good little palette, so I do use that. I have a couple from Huda Beauty. I have the Emerald Obsession. I went on a green kick recently and picked this up off of Poshmark, and I really like it. And then I have the Mauve Obsession that was an add-on from Ipsy. You have the option to add on items. This was an add-on item, and I love pink and red eyeshadow. So I'm going to hold on to these. So far, we're not doing very good here. The next one is one I will probably purge. This is a Pixie palette. I got this at Marshall's. This is one that I had like 2 of the shades from here that I had gotten from Ipsy. I decluttered them, and then I saw this and I was like, oh, I'll get the whole little palette. I'll try it. It's kind of purpley. I haven't used it. I've had this for a couple of months. I think I'll pass this along to my mom. She likes these kinds of colors, and this isn't anything complicated, so that can probably go. I do have these 2 little ones from Laura Lee. I do really like the Sleigh Bell palette. I used it a bunch at Christmas. This light shade's probably going to wash out a little bit, but it is really good, really pretty, really pigmented. And then there's the Party Animal palette, which I don't know why I'm holding on to this, because a lot of these shades don't perform well on their own. Like, I used these 2 in October for a candy corn look, but I had to put them on top of other shadows, and that may be why I'm keeping them, because they do work to kind of change the tone of shadows, but they're not necessarily good on their own. But I did end up using it, so maybe I'll start a maybe pile and put that one in the maybe pile, because like I said, I did use it, but it wasn't like spectacular. The next one is an Urban Decay Naked Basics palette. My friend Lauren gave me this. It's an all matte palette. I have to use this in conjunction with another palette because I don't do all matte looks ever. But I've only used it one time. It's not a bad palette, so I think it's one of those that I need to just play around with it a little bit more. There's going to be a bunch of them in here that I've only used once, so I'm hoping I can get rid of some stuff. This is the Falcolor Sunrise Impression. This is supposed to be a dupe for one of the Huda Beauty palettes. I used it in a video for like a first impression, and I did really like it. I'm going to hold on to it because I want to do a 3 looks, 1 palette video. I did have a request for that, so I do want to hang on to it, and I do really like it. The pigmentation is awesome, and it's a good price. There's a lot of Urban Decay in this drawer. I picked this up. This is the Electric palette. I got this off of Poshmark recently, so it is used. It's old. I did use it. I liked it well enough. I only used it once, so it's one of those. I bought it because when this came out, this was like one of those sought after palettes, but I think there's better ones that have come along since then. So I really don't know if this is worth keeping. I'm going to put it in the maybe pile because like I said, I only used it once. I don't know if I need to keep it. I'll have to look and see how many other shades like that I have. My friend Lauren also gave me, this is the Moon Dust. I've only used this one time. These are good, like, eyeshadow toppers, I would say. These aren't necessarily ones to use on their own, but I need to play around with this some more. And then she also gave me, it's the Urban Decay Smoked palette, which I haven't used this at all since she gave it to me. So I do need to try it before I decide. My husband made a point. He's like, don't get rid of a palette if you haven't tried it, because that's silly. So this one is one that could maybe go. This is the Urban Decay Full Spectrum. I bought this off of Nordstrom Rack. It's really pretty. I like colorful palettes. The formula was just okay. I found the shades that I used problematic. I probably need to use it again. But this is definitely one that could go in the maybe pile because it was just okay. I can see why it was on Nordstrom Rack. So we'll put those, at least the ones that are in the maybe pile will go in a container. And I can give them, you know, on the chopping block kind of a thing. The next one is the Naked Cherry. I do really, really like this. Again, I love a good pink mauve-y eyeshadow. I thought the formula was good. I didn't have any blending issues with this like some people did. My dog's going to come in and out of the frame. So I'm going to keep that. And then I have 2 other Modern Renaissance palettes. I have, this is Modern Renaissance. The Anastasia palettes. This is the Modern Renaissance. So I will keep this. This is a classic, very pretty warm tone palette. And then I also have Riviera that I bought that I love. Very, very pretty. I've used this a few times. Every time I've used it, I've liked it. And then my friend Lauren bought me this for Christmas. This is a MAC Classic Cutie palette. The Classic Cutie palette, if I can get it to not look so washed out. It's such a light palette. I haven't used it. And this is the only MAC palette that I own. So I think I'm going to keep it just for that, because it's the only one that I have, and because I haven't used it yet. So out of there, the only one that I'm for sure getting rid of was the Pixie palette. I have 3 that I need to put, you know, on the chopping block, so to speak. But there's a bunch in here that, and I started this container because the palettes that I haven't tried, I'm gonna start working them up into here because I'm putting myself on a no-buy. So I'm gonna start like filtering through my palettes. So I will probably put these back and then filter them up here. As you can see, I have so many, and I need to start using what I have instead of buying more and adding to it. So let's get into the next drawer. The next one in here is the Violet Voss Pro. I do love this palette. I got this in a Boxy Luxe, and I do really like it. It's very warm, and I'm kind of over the warm eyeshadow trends, but I love the orange and the cranberries down here. Very, very pretty. I've been very happy every time I've used it. So this one I will keep. And then I do have the mini. It's the fun sized, which all of these shades are in the full size palette, but I am going to keep this just because I think this is a good travel palette. And I do really like the formula, so that's the only reason I'm keeping it, even though it's duplicate shades. This is a new one that I bought on Poshmark. This is the Makeup Geek Manny MUA palette. I haven't used it yet. It's old because this collab came out, I feel like, a million years ago, but I haven't tried it yet. It's one, again, that'll get filtered up into here. I have one from IBY. This is the City Limits. I've only used it once. My daughter kind of stuck her fingers in it a little bit, so it's a little bit smushed, but I only used it one time, and I did like it. I mean, it was fine, so I definitely need to try this again. We have a small Kat Von D. Again, my friend Lauren gave, this is another one she gave me. This is a 4-pan. This is Fawn. Haven't tried this. I'm hoping, again, like this would be a good travel palette. So I'm hoping I like this. I just need to use it. We have, this was from my Tribe subscription box this past February, I think. This is the Wander Beauty Wanderous Seascape. I've swatched this. I haven't actually put it on my eyes. There's one matte, and then you have these, like this is a satin, and then these like shimmery shades. It's very pretty, like it's very light. There, maybe it'll show there. You can see the colors a little bit better. But I need to try, again, test it. This is one that can go. This is an add-on that I got from Ipsy. This is the Smashbox Cover Shot Bold Glitter Eye Palette, and I've been keeping it because it's Smashbox, and this is the only one that I own. And I swatched this, and I just, like, I wasn't impressed with the swatches enough to put it on my eyes. Like, they're very dry. Like, I don't even know. So I don't even know that that's, this is one that I think I'm going to declutter because I don't even think this is worth, like, I'm afraid to put it on my eyes. Let's just say that. There's going to be a bunch probably in this drawer. I do like these two color pop palettes. I have the Just My Luck, which is the green. Again, I was on a green kick. My daughter got into one of my face palettes, so there's like highlighter all over. So I'm going to keep this one. I do like these in the plastic packaging. And then I have the Ooh La La, which is the pink. I like me a good pink. Now the ones that I don't care for are these ColourPop ones in these cardboard. Like I said, I don't know why I bought that one on an impulse. The My Little Pony palette, I just was disappointed with this. It's pretty, it's beautiful, but I have like the shades, like the darker, like this blue one down here is very problematic. And it just blends away, like it doesn't stay on your lid. Like the blending quality on these it's just not great. So I think this one can go. And then I have these two Kathleen Lights palettes that I keep because they're from Kathleen Lights. I have the Zodiac palette, which again, it looks beautiful. And then there's Dream Street, but like these blue shades, you have to put an eyeshadow crayon underneath or they don't stick to your lid, and it's really annoying. And I'm gonna put them in my declutter box, but I'm gonna film like a ColourPop video before I completely like get rid of them, because I just have issues with the palettes in these cardboard packaging, and I don't understand why these are so much better. So those are gonna go in there. And then I have some palettes from Pure, like this palette. The Midnight Masquerade. We got it in BoxyCharm. It was fine. It's nothing spectacular. I used it. It was okay. And then there's the Festival palette. Again, I may hold on to this one. I do like the glitters that are in here. I liked this one better than the Midnight Masquerade. The other one that I really liked from Pure is the Soiree Diaries. This again was a BoxyCharm. It's just a neutral palette, but I did like this one a lot, so I'm going to keep those two. But this one I did use in a video where I recently tried it, and it's not bad, but I don't know that I necessarily need to keep it because I'm sure I have these shades in other things. And then this is another ColourPop palette. I kept it in the box because I was going to film a video, and then I never did because I was just disappointed. This is the Disney Villains palette. I used it one time and I was just disappointed. Like the mattes in here are so weird. Like these are the only mattes, and then this white, and then you have all these shimmers, and I don't know. I just wasn't super impressed with the quality on this, so I think this is probably another ColourPop one that could go. I have the Zoeva Prodigy palette, which I used it once and I wasn't super impressed, but I need to try it again before I get rid of it. And then I have the Block Party from Zoeva that I haven't even used. I got this in a Tribe beauty box and have never used it. And then this is one that I love. This is Christmas Morning from Give Me Glow Cosmetics. I love this palette. I highly recommend, if you've never tried anything from them, to splurge, because their palettes are a little bit pricey, but they're so good. Like this, like, are you kidding me with the foil on that? So they're just really good, and it's so cute. And then I have from Lime Crime one of their Pocket Candy palettes. This is the Pink Lemonade. I've used this twice, and I've gotten compliments. Again, it's a pink palette. You can't do a whole lot of different looks with it. It's a 5-pan palette, but it's very cute. The formula is good, and I keep it mainly because it looks like a Polly Pocket, and I pinched myself. But I have been really happy with my eyeshadow looks, and I don't have anything else from Lime Crime, so I tend to keep it because of that. Then I have Laura Lee's Nudie Patootie palette. I got it when it was on sale. I do really like this palette, so I think I'm going to keep this. So that is it in that drawer. So we made better progress. Mostly got rid of, again, ColourPop palettes that I've been holding on to because everybody raves about the ColourPop palettes. And so I keep them because I feel like I should love them because everybody else loves them and I don't love them. This is another one where this may have some ones that could go. This is the Laura Sanchez Moods. I used this palette once and it was just okay. You have these mattes and then these shimmers. I don't know. I probably need to use, and then there's highlights. I probably need to use this again. Like I said, I only used it once and I was just like, oh, I don't know. So This is one that'll probably go, like I said, these ones that are in this container, I will put up on the chopping block, and I may start filming chopping block videos and give them a last go before I pass them along, but that's one that's definitely going to go on the chopping block. Again, I have the Morphe Kathleen lights. I love her so much. She's so sweet. I do still like this palette, so I'm going to keep it. It is starting to get old, but I did use it a ton. When I was building my makeup collection back up, this was one of my first like purchases, so I think that's also why I keep it. I do have the Vault palettes by Jaclyn Hill and Morphe. I bought the collection, so I have all 4. These are ones, again, that, like, they're not horrible, but they're ones that probably I don't use them as much as I should, because they are a little bit temperamental. So those ones will go in the chopping block. The Nightingale by Pretty Vulgar. This again was a BoxyCharm. This is a cool tone palette. I love this palette. I use it all the time. You'd never guess from looking at it, but I use this in when I used the Naked Basics. I use this in conjunction because it does have the like the satin and the shimmers that kind of go with that color scheme. So I am going to keep this one. All of my Juvia's Place palettes are in here. I have the Saharan palette. Again, I got this on Poshmark. I haven't tried this one yet, but I love Juvia's Place. I have the Festival, which I have used. I think I used the mustard and the white. Those are the only shades I've used out of here. And this gold, it looks like my daughter may have dug into these a little bit. But I do really like this palette. I have the Tribe, which I have used this a few times. Really, really like this one also. It's got the greens and the blues that are beautiful. If you've never tried one of their palettes, they have sales all the time. I would highly, highly recommend them. This one's the Zulu palette. Again, I've used this a few times. I do really like this. My absolute favorite would be the Masquerade. This is my hands down favorite, one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes ever. You've got the neutral colors on the bottom. You've got the bright colors on the top. Like, it's just, like, if you haven't tried any, I would recommend picking this one up first. Like I said, it's got the neutrals, it's got the color, and then the last one that I have is the Nubian 2, which again, I really, really like the blue and the green in here, and then you got the oranges and the browns. Like, it's just like, their formula is one of the best on the market. Definitely worth the money. I have 2 from Lunatic Cosmetic Labs. When I got this first one, this is the Supernatural palette. I didn't have that many eyeshadow palettes, and I used it all the time. Now I have so many, I don't use it as much. But their formula is really good. And this is just a mauve neutral palette, and it's a little coffin. I like things that are slightly creepy. So, and it's got the little like Ouija board on top. And then the other one that I have is the Elvira palette. I bought this mainly because I love her. I got to meet her at Comic-Con once. It has the little pop-ups. This one is a little bit trickier for me to use. You've got 5 shadows and then a blush, which the blush is actually a good transition shade, but like, I think the blue is the only color in here I haven't used because you have to use it on its own. I feel like you can use it with these berry tones, but I feel like you can't, like, if you use it with these colors, it starts to look a little 4th of July. I don't know. The blue throws me off, but I have used it a few times, and again, their formulas are really, really good, and they're shaped like little coffins. So those are the 2 from them. They have 2 other ones that I want, but I'm on a no-buy, and I don't need them. Next one is Alamar Cosmetics. This is, I'm going to hold it up because I am not going to butcher that. Again, we got it in a BoxyCharm. It's beautiful. It's got, you know, the warm tones and some blues. It's just, the formula is outstanding, and this is a very pretty palette, so I'm going to keep that. I do have one from Besame Cosmetics. This is their smaller Snow White palette. Have not tried it. Don't even think I've swatched this. Nope, I have not. It's not touched. So again, this is one that's going to go up there before I decide to. But the packaging is so stinking cute. Like, look, it's just so pretty. And then this is, the last one in here is by Lorac. This is the only Lorac palette I own. Like, eyeshadow palette, I do have the face palette from the Beauty and the Beast collection, but this is one I will probably never get rid of because my husband bought this for me, and it's Beauty and the Beast. It's my favorite Disney movie, so even though I don't use this much, I will probably never get rid of that. So let's put all of these back in here. Okay, and the next one is mainly Too Faced. This is mostly what's in here. We've got some Too Faced and a couple of Tarte palettes. I have the Love, Trust, and Fairy Dust. I have used this quite a bit. I do really like this. I bought this when I bought the Sizzle palette, and actually I haven't used that one, as you saw. It's up here, but I have used this one, and I do really like this, so I'm going to keep this one. And then I have this one I keep because it's the unicorn, Make Believe in Yourself. And I did, again, I bought this when I didn't have many eyeshadow palettes, and so I used it a lot. And it's just kind of fallen to the wayside because I have so many others. But I do really like it, so I'm gonna keep it. A side note, Too Faced is probably my favorite brand, and it's really hard for me to get rid of Too Faced things. So there's probably not anything in here that's going to go, but we'll go through it and we'll look anyway. I have the Pumpkin Spice palette that was available on HSN, and I love this palette. I don't know why nobody talked about this palette. This palette, and I do have a video on my channel where I review this. It is so good, and it looks like, it doesn't look like anything special. It was supposed to smell like pumpkin spice. There is a smell to it, but it's definitely not pumpkin spice. But you have like these little quadrants. So there's like a cranberry corner, like an orangey corner, a brown, you know, the pink corner, but it's, and then you can mix and match, but it's so pretty. And it just looks like a boring neutral palette, but it's so good. I can't rave enough about it. Like I said, I have a review of this palette on my channel. I love it so much. I'm kind of sad that it was like a limited edition thing and it was only available on HSN because it was so good. Like, hands down, that's probably one of my favorite Too Faced palettes, and that's surprising to me to say. This is the Life's a Festival. Again, I used this a lot when I first bought it. I was able to get some really pretty rainbow looks. I am going to keep it. It kind of smells like fruit punch, and it's unicorn. I love unicorns. I love coffins, bats, tombstones, the color pink, and unicorns. Just a little side note on that. I have the peanut butter and jelly palette. Now this one is, if I was going to declutter one, would probably be this. Like, the staying power on this is not good, but I keep it for like collector's purposes, and it's Too Faced. And then I have the honey palette, and I bought this one. My husband loves honey, so I felt like I had to have the honey palette because he's obsessed with honey. And again, the staying power, like, it's pretty, it's nice, but the staying power on these is just not good. I feel like these are ones that should go in there, because I used this one time and was so disappointed and I never used it again. And I think this one was the same way. So I feel like these at least need to be put in there to be forced to use. I do have the mini white chocolate palette, and I have the full size, so all of these shades are in the full size, but I keep this because this was the very first thing that my husband bought me for Valentine's Day when we first started dating, so I keep it for sentimental purposes, which is dumb, I know. But then I have the little sugar cookie palette. This one was available at Christmas time at Ulta. This was the Ulta one. I think Sephora got the peach one. I like it. Again, I keep it. It's a good little palette. I feel like it's a good travel palette. I wanted to actually do a video because I feel like you could use this as a contour and this as a blush and a highlight and do a whole face with just this. But it's a good little travel palette, and the quality is good on this one. Much better than the peanut butter palettes. I have the natural Eyes. This is the one that has the mattes and the shimmers in it, and I do really like this. This is my go-to neutral. If I want to just do a regular neutral eye, this is the palette that I reach for. I have the Anniversary palette, and people hate this palette, and I think people hate it because it's just so freaking large. But it's really good. Like the glitters and the shimmers are good. There's mattes. Like I'm a shimmery, sparkly eyeshadow person, so it doesn't bother me that there's not that many mattes in here. I've done like whole like glitter looks with this, and they came out really pretty. I feel like it's one of those palettes you can definitely break the rules with, and I really like it. It smelled a little chemically when I first got it. I feel like they rushed the production because the pans are like off center. And it did smell a little chemically, like this one you can see is like crooked, but the quality is good. So and it's pink and sparkly. So I'm going to keep it because I like it. I use that one and I'm never like disappointed. Now for the chocolate bars, I have the gingerbread. Love this palette. I get compliments every time I wear it. Again, my husband bought this for me for Christmas. Anything he buys me, I keep. They're dusty. Oh goodness, haven't used that in a while. The original chocolate bar, he bought this for me for Christmas. This is one of the ones that I didn't have in my collection, and he remembered and he bought it for me 2 Christmases ago. I don't know why that one's got these little like bumps in it. I don't know if you can see that because I haven't really used this a lot and it just sits in the drawer. Maybe when we moved, but yeah. He bought this for me, so I will never, anything he has bought, because I feel like for him to go on, either go into Sephora or go on the Too Faced website and purchase something, that's special to me. I bought the full-size white chocolate bar because he bought me the mini, so when this came out, I had to have this. And again, like the green looks a little weird, but I did get a really pretty like holiday look with the green and the gray in here, but I don't know why some of these are starting to look weird and crumbly. But this is one of those palettes where people either loved this or they flat out hated it. And I really like it. And again, it could be because I have such sentimental attachments to the mini that I was all about, the full size. Sweet Peach. Again, when I was rebuilding my makeup collection, this is one of the first palettes that I purchased. This was probably one of the first high-end ones that I purchased. I love it. This isn't my favorite out of the chocolate bar tins, but this is probably the one that I've used the most, if that makes any sort of sense. It's just, you can do dark vampy looks, you can do light looks, like it's just so versatile. So like if you didn't have any of these and you were going to pick up one, this is probably the one that I would recommend to people. And then my favorite one is probably this one, and it's just because of the packaging. It's pink and it's cool toned and it's hearts. I just like the way this one looks. But yeah, the peach one's probably the one that I've used. Did use this one quite a bit when I first got it, but yeah, out of all of them, the peach ones probably. So we have 2 in there. Like I said, the Too Faced ones are the hardest for me to part with because it's my favoritist brand, which that's not proper English, but yeah, it's my favorite and I love the brand, so I tend to just hoard Too Faced makeup. And then the last drawer is my large palettes. So that's all that's down here. So first off, we have the Jeffree Star Alien palette. I only have 2 of his palettes. And there's a Kat Von D palette down there too, but don't tell this palette. And this is probably my favorite, which surprised me because out of the 2, I have this in Blood Sugar. I did not think that this was going to be my favorite, but this is probably one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes ever that I own. And the pictures online did not do this justice because when I first saw this, I was like, oh, that is so boring. But this is, you can do the coolest looks with this. Like I said, this has become, I use this all the time. You'd never guess from looking at it, but this is probably one of my most favorite eyeshadow palettes. it's just ginormous and it's bulky. But packaging aside, and then here is blood sugar, which I was surprised. I think I've only used this twice, and that surprised me that I was gonna like Alien. I got this one off of his website when he restocked, and I bought the Alien palette off of Poshmark within like a month of each other, and I've used that one so much more, and that really surprised me. But this is so pretty, and I am glad that I have it. And again, it's bulky. And then we have the Saint and Sinner palette, and this, I have the little one now, the little fawn palette, but this was the only Kat Von D palette that I owned. And it's pretty, but it's one of those, I think because the formula is good, but I think because of the color arrangement being all over the place, this is one that definitely needs to get put in there so that I can either use it or pass it along, because it just sits in my drawer. And I pull it out, and I don't know what to do with it. And I keep it because it's Kat Von D and it's beautiful packaging, but I need to force myself to use it. I have the Jaclyn Hill palette. Again, this is a good palette. To me, this is a neutral palette, so I don't use it often, but it's pretty, and I'm happy that I have it. And then I have the Emily Edits, the Emily Edit by Makeup Revolution, the Wants palette. I decluttered the Needs palette. I didn't like it. I got this off of Poshmark. I used it one time and it came out honestly very muddy. I used these cranberry shades down here. So I need to put this in there, force myself to use it, and figure out if I'm gonna keep it or not. So we do have, so one's, like this one's probably for sure gonna go, but I need to try this. So we've got some in there. Hopefully this wasn't too boring. I could do a separate video on singles. That's all that's in there is singles and pigments and things. But yeah, I just wanted to do eyeshadow palettes. Thank you for going through them with me and forcing me to take some out of my collection. Again, please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in my next video.